Welcome to Fluent English Journey. I am really happy that you are here with us today. If you have not subscribed yet, please make sure to do so. By subscribing, you will get helpful tips for learning English every single day. If this is your first time visiting our channel, let me explain what we do here. Every day, we post videos that are designed to help you understand English better and speak it more naturally. Our main focus is on helping you improve your listening skills, speak with more confidence, and learn how to use English the same way native speakers do. My name is Blake, and today I want to share some simple, real-life stories that can help you practice advanced English without feeling stressed. These stories show how everyday situations can be turned into great learning opportunities. Let's start with a story about my friend Daniel. Not long ago, Daniel moved to a new city because he received a job offer. He was excited about this new chapter in his life, but he was also nervous. Everything around him felt new and unfamiliar. The streets looked different, people behaved differently, and even simple tasks like going to a grocery store felt challenging. On his very first morning in the new city, Daniel decided to take a walk and explore his neighborhood. While walking, he found a small cafe that looked warm and welcoming. The owner seemed friendly, so Daniel gathered his courage and went inside. He greeted the owner politely and asked about the menu. The owner, Mr. Lewis, explained the dishes cheerfully. Daniel asked a few more questions, and soon they started a natural conversation. Daniel was surprised at how comfortable he felt speaking English. Even though he did not know every word, he could communicate his ideas clearly. This showed him that speaking confidently is more important than speaking perfectly. Many English learners wait until they think their English is perfect before trying to speak. But Daniel's experience teaches us that improvement comes from action, not fear. The more you try, the more confident you become. Now, let me share another story. My colleague Sarah had an important meeting at work. She had to present a project in front of a large group of people. Although she understood English well, she had never spoken in front of so many people before. This made her nervous. To prepare, Sarah practiced every evening. She read her presentation out loud, memorized key sentences, and imagined possible questions her team might ask. She worked hard to be ready. On the day of the presentation, Sarah stayed calm. She spoke clearly, made eye contact with everyone in the room, and answered difficult questions confidently. After the meeting, she told me that all her preparation helped a lot. But what made the biggest difference was believing in herself. She learned that confidence grows when you face your fears, not when you avoid them. These two stories show that learning English becomes easier when you practice in real-life situations. Stay patient and allow yourself to make mistakes. Confidence does not come from being perfect, it comes from trying. Here are 3 important lessons you should remember when learning English. Practice in real life. Textbooks are useful, but they cannot teach you how people actually speak in everyday situations. Prepare ahead. If you know you will face a challenging situation, such as a work meeting, a phone call, or talking to a stranger, think about the questions you might be asked and the phrases you may need. Mistakes are normal. Making mistakes is part of learning. Mistakes do not mean you are a bad speaker. They mean you are improving. Let me share a more relaxed story. A few weeks ago, my neighbor, Mr. Auckland, invited my wife and me to dinner at his home. The meal was delicious. While eating, he shared stories from his childhood. I noticed he used many complex English expressions, but spoke smoothly and naturally, like he was chatting with a friend. I asked him how he learned to speak English so well. He smiled and said, "I read a lot of books, and every evening, I explain the stories to my wife in English." His method was simple but very effective. This is a great tip for you too. Reading helps you grow your vocabulary, but actively using English makes the biggest difference. Don't just read silently. Try to explain what you read to someone else. If no one is there, you can speak in front of a mirror, record your voice, or even talk to yourself. The important thing is to use English with your own voice. The more you do this, the more confident and natural you will become. Here's another situation that many of you may relate to. Last month, my friend Michael went furniture shopping with his wife. They visited many stores, and Michael had to ask about prices, delivery options, and product details. He needed to use advanced phrases like, "Could you clarify the warranty terms?" and "Is it possible to arrange delivery by next week?" At first, Michael felt nervous when he went shopping for furniture. He had to use phrases that he didn't use every day, and this made him unsure of himself. But as the day went on, he began to feel more comfortable. He realized that using English in practical, everyday situations was not as difficult as he had imagined. By the end of the day, he felt proud of himself and more confident in his speaking abilities. There is an important lesson in Michael's experience. He was not focused on perfect grammar, long sentences, or complicated rules. Instead, he focused on communication. He learned phrases that were useful for the situation he was in. He practiced asking questions naturally. This is what advanced English really means. True fluency does not come from memorizing hundreds of grammar points or long lists of vocabulary. Fluency comes from using English to express your ideas clearly and confidently in real-life situations. When you use English in everyday life, you learn faster and speak more naturally. Let me share a story from my own life to show how simple moments can help you practice. Last weekend, my wife and I decided to take a short trip to a small town near our home. We rented a little car and planned our journey carefully. During the drive, we stopped at a gas station to get fuel. The attendant there was very friendly and asked us about our trip. I saw this as a perfect opportunity to practice English. I told him about our plans and asked if he knew any good local restaurants. He recommended a small bakery not far from the station. We followed his suggestion and ended up enjoying one of the best meals of our trip. This small experience taught me something valuable. First, everyday moments can become excellent opportunities to practice English. You do not always need a classroom, a textbook, or a formal learning environment. A simple conversation with a stranger, a question at a store, or even a short chat while traveling can help you improve. Second, speaking English confidently can lead to unexpected and positive experiences. If I had not spoken to the gas station attendant, we would have missed that amazing bakery. So, never wait for a perfect situation. Your daily life is full of chances to practice English. Now let's look at another example, this time from the workplace. My friend Rebecca works for an international company, so she often writes emails to clients from different countries. When she first started, she found it difficult to sound professional while still being friendly. She worried about using the wrong expressions or making her tone too formal or too casual. To improve, Rebecca began reading emails written by her colleagues who were native English speakers. She observed how they greeted clients, structured their sentences, and kept their messages polite but warm. She also asked her husband to review her emails before sending them. Over time, her writing became smoother and more natural. She gained confidence and eventually found her own voice in professional English. Rebecca's experience teaches two important lessons. First, imitation can be a very powerful learning tool. When you pay attention to how native speakers write or speak, you begin to understand the natural rhythm of the language. Second, feedback helps you improve. When someone reviews your writing or listens to your speaking, you learn what to adjust. These small improvements make your English sound more advanced. Now imagine you are at a social event and meet someone for the first time. You need to introduce yourself, ask simple questions, answer politely, and keep the conversation going in a friendly way. Many learners find these casual situations harder than formal ones. My friend Thomas shared a technique that helped him. Every evening, he and his wife practiced role-playing different situations. One day, they pretended to meet at a party. Another day, they practiced starting a conversation in a restaurant or at a bus stop. These short practice sessions helped Thomas learn useful phrases and improved his confidence when talking to new people. When you repeat these situations at home, you feel more prepared in real life. Thomas and his wife practiced many everyday conversations together, introducing themselves, explaining their hobbies, talking about their jobs, and even discussing projects as if they were in an office meeting. After a few weeks of regular practice, Thomas noticed something amazing. He could speak without stopping to translate sentences in his head. Words came out smoothly, and he felt much more confident. This method works because advanced English is not just about learning new vocabulary or memorizing grammar rules. It is about training your mind to think directly in English. When you practice realistic situations, your brain begins to adapt naturally. Role-playing with someone you trust, a friend, a partner, or even practicing alone is one of the best ways to build this skill. Let me share another useful story about cultural understanding. My friend Lisa traveled to another city for a conference. While she was there, she heard people using idioms and expressions she had never heard before. For example, they said things like, hit the ground running, which means to start something quickly and energetically, and back to the drawing board, which means to start again because something didn't work. At first, Lisa felt lost and confused because these phrases were new and their meanings were not obvious. Instead of staying silent, she decided to listen more carefully. Lisa asked her colleagues politely whenever she did not understand something. They were happy to explain, and within just a few days, she started using these expressions naturally in her own conversations. Lisa's experience teaches us something very important about advanced English. Learning English is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It also involves understanding culture, context, and the way people really speak. Learning idioms, noticing tone, and observing how native speakers interact can help you sound more fluent and natural. Good listening skills and asking polite questions are very powerful tools for learning. When you pay attention to how English is used in different situations, you slowly begin to absorb the deeper layers of the language. A few days ago, my friend James shared a story about organizing a big family gathering. He wanted the event to go smoothly, and he did not want to feel stressed during conversations. So, he made a detailed plan. He wrote a checklist of everything that needed to be done, who would bring food, where everyone would sit, and what activities they would enjoy. But James did not stop there. His wife noticed that he had also prepared a list of conversation starters to help guests connect with each other. He planned simple questions and topics, like favorite childhood memories, travel experiences, and hobbies. When the family finally gathered, something wonderful happened. The older relatives shared stories from decades ago, and the younger family members talked openly about their interests and plans. Because James had prepared ahead of time, he did not have to worry about what to say. He could relax and enjoy the moment. James' story teaches an important lesson for anyone learning advanced English. Preparing for conversations, even simple ones, can make you more confident and help you express complex ideas more easily. When you think about possible topics in advance, you feel relaxed and ready to speak. Preparation makes your speech smoother, more natural, and more enjoyable for both you and the people you are talking to. When thinking about improving your English, it helps to prepare for situations you may face in daily life, meetings at work, family gatherings, social events, or casual conversations with strangers. Planning a few useful phrases or questions ahead of time can reduce anxiety and make speaking easier. This small preparation gives your mind a clear starting point and makes you feel more confident when it is time to communicate. Let me share a story about my colleague Henry. He recently joined a new project team at his company. Almost everyone on the team spoke English fluently as their first language. The meetings were fast, full of technical vocabulary, and sometimes difficult to follow. At first, Henry felt overwhelmed. He worried that he would fall behind or misunderstand important details. To improve, Henry developed a simple routine. He took detailed notes during every meeting. In the evenings, he reviewed those notes with his wife. They discussed the important points, explained ideas to each other, and practiced using the difficult technical words in complete sentences. After a few weeks of consistent practice, Henry felt much more confident. He began contributing to discussions without hesitation and felt proud that he could express his ideas clearly. Henry's story shows how powerful repetition and active practice can be. Listening alone is not enough to master advanced English. You need to actively process information, repeat it, explain it, and use it in your own sentences. When you teach someone else, even if that person is your spouse or a friend, you learn the material more deeply. This method helps you internalize vocabulary and structure your thoughts more effectively in English. Let's move on to another practical example involving travel. My friend Olivia recently took a short trip to a city she had never visited before. She traveled with her husband, and they wanted to explore the city on foot. As they walked around, they asked for directions, read signs, asked locals about restaurants, and interacted with different vendors. At first, Olivia was nervous about using English in a completely unfamiliar place. She worried about saying something incorrectly or not understanding someone's accent. But she soon realized that people appreciated her effort, and they were happy to help. By asking simple questions like, "Could you recommend a good local cafe?" or "Is this the right way to the museum?" she not only found helpful information, but also practiced conversational English naturally. These small interactions helped her build confidence and use English in practical ways. She discovered new vocabulary, picked up useful phrases, and became more comfortable speaking with strangers. Travel experiences like Olivia's are extremely valuable for improving both listening and speaking skills. When you travel, you hear different accents, encounter new expressions, and learn phrases you may never find in a textbook. More importantly, you have to think quickly and respond immediately, which trains your brain to use English more automatically. This kind of real-world practice strengthens fluency and helps you communicate more naturally in everyday situations. Let's move on to another everyday example. My friend Robert enjoys cooking at home, and he found a creative way to improve his English through this hobby. He began watching recipe videos in English, reading ingredient lists, and following cooking instructions step by step. While preparing meals, Robert explained every action he took while cooking to his wife in English. He described what he was doing, why he was doing it, and even talked about the smells and textures of the ingredients. By narrating everything out loud, Robert practiced both vocabulary and speaking skills at the same time. He told me that this simple method not only improved his English, but also made cooking more fun and engaging. Robert's experience shows that you can turn almost any daily activity into an opportunity to practice English. Cooking, cleaning, exercising, shopping, anything can become a useful learning moment. You can describe your actions, explain your thoughts, or tell a short story about what you are doing. For example, while cleaning, you could say, "I'm wiping the table," or "I need to organize the books." While exercising, you might say, "I'm stretching my arms," or "I've completed 10 push-ups. These small habits help strengthen your speaking fluency because you are actively using English, not just thinking about it. The more you use English in your daily life, the faster you develop strong listening, speaking, and descriptive skills. Now, let me share a story about problem solving. My neighbor, Mr. Kareem, recently had trouble with his car. The engine started making a strange noise, and he needed to speak with a mechanic. He did not know all the technical vocabulary in English, so he could not describe the problem perfectly. However, he used simple phrases and clear descriptions to explain what he heard and how the car behaved. He said things like, "The engine makes a loud tapping sound when I start the car, and the noise gets stronger when I drive uphill." Even without technical terms, the mechanic completely understood and was able to fix the problem. In fact, he even complimented Mr. Kareem on how clearly he explained the issue. This situation teaches an important lesson for advanced English learners. Communication is not about knowing every single word. What matters more is clarity, context, and effective explanation. When you do not know a specific term, you can still describe things in simple words. Use comparisons, explain the situation, or describe the problem step by step. This skill is helpful in both professional and personal situations and makes your English sound natural, flexible, and practical. Now, let's look at an example related to listening practice. My friend Sophia has a daily habit that helps her improve her English. While she eats breakfast, she listens to English podcasts. She chooses topics she genuinely enjoys, such as technology, travel, culture, and current events. This keeps her motivated because she learns something interesting while improving her listening skills at the same time. By listening daily, Sophia becomes familiar with different accents, tones, and speaking styles. She learns new phrases naturally without forcing herself to memorize them. After listening to her morning podcasts, Sophia writes a short summary of what she heard. Then she discusses it with her husband. This routine helps her in 3 important ways. She understands complex ideas more easily because she thinks about the main points. She learns new vocabulary naturally by using the words in sentences. She practices speaking in a relaxed and meaningful way. After a few months of doing this every day, Sophia noticed a huge improvement. She could follow fast conversations without feeling lost, and she could express her own thoughts fluently. This technique is very effective for advanced English learners. Actively listening, summarizing, and discussing helps you absorb sentence patterns, natural expressions, and grammar structures without memorizing them. It also trains your brain to understand English at its natural speed, which is essential for strong C1 and C2 level fluency. Now let's move to a situation that shows how English can appear when you least expect it. My friend Daniel was at the bank with his wife, applying for a small loan. The banker asked many questions about his job, income, monthly expenses, and financial history. Daniel needed to respond quickly and clearly using formal English. At first, he felt nervous and worried about making mistakes, but he reminded himself to stay calm. He answered each question slowly and logically. He used polite expressions such as, "Could you clarify the document requirements?" and "I would like to confirm the procedure." By the end of the appointment, everything went smoothly. Daniel realized that real-life English requires a combination of confidence, clarity, and the right vocabulary. These practical experiences teach lessons that textbooks cannot. They help you learn to think in English, communicate calmly under pressure, and respond naturally even in formal situations. Next, let's talk about a story involving technology, which can be challenging for many learners. My friend Lucas wanted to set up a home office for remote work. He had to install new software, adjust his computer settings, and fix internet problems. On top of that, he needed to communicate with the technical support team entirely in English. At first, the instructions sounded complicated, and he could not understand all the technical words. Instead of giving up, Lucas created a plan to improve his English while handling technical problems. He took notes during every support call, repeated the instructions aloud to himself, and practiced key phrases. He even asked his wife to pretend to be a support agent so he could practice explaining his problems clearly. Within a week, he noticed significant progress. He could handle similar technical issues on his own and communicate confidently with his support team. Lucas's experience shows that difficult situations can become powerful learning moments. When you repeat instructions, practice explanations, and use new vocabulary and context, your brain begins to memorize patterns naturally. Technology-related English may seem hard at first, but with consistent practice, especially through speaking and active listening, you can learn it just like any other skill. The key is not avoiding challenging situations, but using them as opportunities to grow. Every real conversation, phone call, or small problem you solve in English adds to your fluency. Lucas didn't just study vocabulary or memorize grammar rules. He used English to ask questions, understand instructions, and communicate clearly. This is what advanced English truly means: using language confidently in real-world situations, even when things are confusing or stressful. Now, let's look at an example related to social interactions. My friend Emily often attends community events with her husband. At these events, she meets people from many different backgrounds. She listens to their stories, asks simple questions, and joins conversations naturally. Emily noticed something interesting. When she focused on listening carefully and responding in a friendly, natural way, people enjoyed talking with her. But when she tried to use complicated vocabulary just to sound advanced, the conversations felt less comfortable. Emily realized that empathy, curiosity, and clear responses are just as important as using advanced words when speaking English with others. Her experience teaches an important lesson. Advanced English is not about making your sentences long or complex. It is about communicating in a way that people understand and connect with. Being polite, showing interest, listening actively, and expressing your thoughts clearly are far more valuable than using difficult expressions just to sound impressive. A few weeks ago, my friend Daniel had another helpful learning experience. He went to a local farmer's market with his wife to buy fresh vegetables. The vendor asked them what they were looking for and suggested different options. Daniel used this opportunity to practice English politely. He asked follow-up questions like, "Which vegetable would you recommend for a quick meal?" and "Was this harvested recently?" These questions helped him get better information and also gave him a chance to practice speaking naturally. By the time he finished shopping, he realized he had spoken English confidently in a completely casual environment. This showed him again that you don't need a classroom to practice advanced English. Daily interactions, shopping, asking for suggestions, or chatting with vendors give you countless chances to improve vocabulary, pronunciation, and fluency. Here's another useful example, this time about planning and organization. My friend Rachel recently organized a charity event. She had to coordinate volunteers, schedule activities, contact local sponsors, and make sure everything was prepared on time. To communicate effectively, she practiced writing emails in English every day. She reviewed examples of professional emails online, planned her messages before writing, and asked a colleague to check her tone and structure. With each email she sent, her confidence grew. She learned how to sound polite, clear, and professional at the same time. Rachel also practiced making phone calls in English to confirm schedules and coordinate with different teams. These experiences helped her develop strong communication skills that she now uses in other work projects. Rachel's story shows that advanced English becomes easier when you use it for real tasks: planning, organizing, communicating, and cooperating with others. Every email, phone call, and short conversation teaches you something new. By practicing in meaningful situations, you build the confidence to express yourself naturally, even when the task is complex or important. Rachel's story also shows how preparation can make a big difference in using English effectively. She practiced writing emails, making phone calls, and giving short presentations. She even rehearsed with her husband to make sure her explanations were clear and concise. By preparing in advance, Rachel felt more confident and successfully managed her charity event. This highlights an important point for anyone learning advanced English. It's not enough to know words or grammar. You need to use them in real-life situations to achieve meaningful goals. Practicing, planning, and rehearsing give you the confidence to speak naturally and handle important tasks. Now, let's look at an example involving problem-solving at home. My friend Mark discovered a small leak in his kitchen faucet. Instead of panicking, he searched online for instructions and read them carefully. Then, he explained each step to his wife in English as they worked together to fix the problem. He described what he was doing, which tools to use, and why each step mattered. By explaining the process aloud, Mark not only solved the problem but also remembered the technical vocabulary he needed and improved his ability to give clear instructions in English. This demonstrates an important principle for advanced English learners. Combining practical tasks with language use strengthens both listening and speaking skills. Teaching, explaining, and discussing ideas in English helps you internalize new words, sentence structures, and expressions faster than just memorizing them. A few days ago, my friend Thomas shared another useful story about learning English in a professional setting. He attended a workshop on project management with his wife. All the sessions were conducted in English, and at first, Thomas felt overwhelmed. The lectures were fast, and the speakers used many specialized terms that were unfamiliar to him. To cope, Thomas took concise notes during each session, highlighting the words or phrases he didn't fully understand. Later at home, he reviewed these notes with his wife. They discussed each idea aloud, explained the terms to each other, and even practiced using them in example sentences. By doing this, Thomas could recall complex concepts more easily and contribute confidently during group discussions in the workshop. Thomas's experience teaches a crucial lesson. Advanced English is not only about understanding words. It is about combining listening, note-taking, and speaking in a practical way. Actively processing information immediately after hearing it helps you retain the language naturally. This method trains your brain to work in English, understand ideas faster, and use appropriate words and phrases automatically. By repeating, summarizing, and speaking about what you learn, you strengthen both comprehension and fluency. It also prepares you to participate in discussions, presentations, and real-life problem-solving situations without hesitation. These examples, Rachel organizing an event, Mark fixing a faucet, and Thomas attending a workshop, show that advanced English is best learned through practical use. Reading textbooks or memorizing rules is not enough. You need to actively apply the language in everyday situations, explain things to others, and rehearse in realistic contexts. When you combine preparation, practice, and active use, you can speak confidently, understand complex ideas, and handle professional and personal challenges in English. These strategies turn learning from a passive activity into a practical skill you can use every day. Listening actively and practicing immediately helps you understand fast speech without losing comprehension. Let's look at a story from my friend Henry. He decided to redecorate his living room and went furniture shopping with his wife. While at the store, he practiced describing shapes, colors, and sizes in English. He asked questions like, "Does this sofa come in gray?" and "What are the dimensions of this table?" At first, he stumbled over some phrases and hesitated a little, but he focused on using simple, descriptive words. By speaking clearly and explaining exactly what he meant, he was able to communicate successfully. By the end of the day, Henry realized an important lesson. Practical vocabulary and the ability to describe things clearly are more useful than trying to use complicated words. This story shows that everyday situations like shopping, home projects, or even cooking are perfect opportunities to practice advanced English. Instead of only studying from books, try to narrate or explain what you are doing in English. Describe your actions, ask questions, and practice words naturally. Another useful example comes from social conversation. My friend Lisa attended a community seminar with her husband. People from different countries were discussing environmental issues, and Lisa noticed that many participants used idioms and figurative expressions she had never heard before. She started writing down these phrases and then practiced using them in sentences with her husband. Over time, she noticed she could participate in discussions without translating in her mind first. This story teaches an important lesson for advanced learners. Listening practice is not only about understanding individual words. You also need to focus on common phrases, idioms, and expressions that native speakers use naturally. Writing them down and practicing them aloud helps you internalize the language, making it easier to speak fluently in real conversations. Now, let's look at a story involving technology. My friend Robert needed to install new software for work, but the instructions were in English, and the support team only spoke English. At first, Robert felt nervous because he didn't understand some of the technical terms. Instead of giving up, he created a simple plan. He carefully read the instructions step by step, noted down words he didn't know, and repeated the instructions aloud to himself. Then he asked a friend to role-play the support conversation so he could practice explaining his problem clearly. After a short time, Robert realized he could handle similar tasks on his own. He was able to follow instructions, communicate with the support team, and solve technical issues confidently. This story shows that advanced English is not only about grammar or memorizing vocabulary. It is about using language practically to solve problems. Whether it is technology, shopping, social situations, or describing your surroundings, using English actively helps you learn faster. Repeating phrases, explaining tasks, and practicing conversations with someone you trust trains your brain to think in English naturally. By turning everyday tasks into learning opportunities, you can improve your speaking, listening, and comprehension skills quickly. These practical experiences teach lessons that no textbook alone can provide. They help you use English confidently, respond naturally, and communicate effectively in real-life situations. Robert's story shows how practicing English in practical situations can make a big difference. He carefully followed the software installation steps, taking notes and repeating each instruction aloud to his wife. When an unexpected problem appeared, he calmly called the support team and explained the situation clearly in English. By the end of the process, he had completed the installation successfully. More importantly, Lucas felt proud of using English effectively to solve a technical issue. This example highlights an important lesson. Practical problem solving improves advanced English skills. You learn to think logically, explain things clearly, and respond quickly, all essential for high-level fluency. Using English in real-life tasks teaches skills that textbooks alone cannot. Now, let's move to a daily life example. My friend Michael was helping his wife organize a community charity event. He had to communicate with volunteers, answer questions, and give instructions clearly. To prepare, Michael practiced explaining each task step by step in English. This preparation allowed him to speak confidently and make sure everyone understood their responsibilities. Even when volunteers asked unexpected questions, Michael could respond naturally because he had anticipated similar situations in advance. This story shows that preparation is a key part of advanced English. It's not just about knowing words or grammar. It's about predicting what people might ask and responding effectively. Planning, rehearsing, and thinking ahead help you speak more fluently and reduce hesitation. Let's consider another situation: travel. My friend Olivia and her husband went on a weekend trip to a small countryside town. They stayed at a guest house where the staff spoke English to answer questions about local attractions, transportation, and meals. Olivia needed to ask questions clearly and politely. She used phrases like, "Could you recommend a local walking trail?" and "Is breakfast included with the room?" By speaking clearly and politely, she got the information she needed and even built a friendly connection with the staff. Travel experiences like these are excellent for advanced listening and speaking practice because they expose you to natural English in real contexts. You learn to ask questions, follow explanations, and respond appropriately without translating in your head first. This example also demonstrates that using English actively in everyday situations builds confidence quickly. When you ask questions, interact with new people, and navigate unfamiliar situations in English, you practice vocabulary, sentence structures, and expressions naturally. You also train your brain to think in English, which is crucial for achieving fluency. Whether it's traveling, organizing an event, fixing a problem, or handling technology, real-life practice is far more effective than memorizing phrases from a book. Advanced English is about combining preparation, observation, and action. By anticipating what you might need to say, practicing your explanations, and using English in real situations, you learn faster and speak more confidently. These experiences, installing software, organizing events, or traveling, show that every daily activity can be turned into a learning opportunity. The more you use English actively, the stronger your listening, speaking, and comprehension skills become. Over time, you develop the ability to respond naturally, communicate effectively, and handle both casual and formal situations with confidence. Traveling and interacting in English helps you improve fluency in many ways. By asking questions, following instructions, and responding to different accents and speaking speeds, you learn to understand English naturally and speak more confidently. Every real-life situation is an opportunity to practice listening, speaking, and thinking in English. Now, let's look at an example of storytelling. My neighbor, Mr. Kareem, often shares stories about his childhood with his wife. He uses detailed descriptions, tells events in order, and connects his ideas with longer, more complex sentences. Listening to him made me realize that storytelling is an excellent way to practice both listening and speaking. You can narrate your own experiences, describe what happened in sequence, and practice linking ideas naturally in English. Storytelling also teaches you useful connectors and transition phrases like "as a result," "meanwhile," and "eventually." These phrases make your English sound fluent, smooth, and professional. Practicing storytelling with a partner helps you organize your thoughts, speak clearly, and improve both your vocabulary and sentence structures. Here's another example involving reading and discussion. My friend Rachel reads English news articles every morning and then explains the main points to her husband. She practices summarizing, paraphrasing, and giving her own opinion. For example, if an article talks about climate change, she might say, "The report highlights rising temperatures in urban areas, which could affect agriculture." By doing this regularly, Rachel improved her ability to use complex sentences, explain ideas clearly, and speak confidently. This method is very effective for advanced learners. Reading alone helps with vocabulary and grammar, but summarizing and discussing what you read ensures that you internalize language patterns and can use them naturally in conversation. Now, let's consider a professional example. My friend Daniel works in an international office and recently had to lead a virtual meeting with colleagues from different countries. Some participants spoke very quickly, and their accents varied. To handle the meeting effectively, Daniel prepared a clear agenda, practiced key phrases with his wife, and even anticipated the questions that might come up. During the meeting, he spoke confidently, asked for clarification politely when needed, and responded clearly to questions. By preparing ahead of time, He managed a complex situation without stress and was able to communicate his ideas effectively. These examples show an important principle of advanced English learning. Preparation, practice, and active use are more important than memorizing grammar rules. Storytelling, reading and discussing articles, and planning for meetings all provide opportunities to improve fluency. These experiences help you think in English, link your ideas logically, and use natural expressions without translating in your mind. When you practice in real-life situations, whether social, professional, or personal, your listening, speaking, and comprehension skills improve faster. Using English actively in daily life through storytelling, discussions, or professional preparation helps you gain confidence and speak more naturally. Over time, you develop the ability to respond quickly, explain complex ideas clearly, and participate in conversations or meetings without hesitation. By combining preparation, practice, and interaction, advanced learners can reach high levels of fluency and communicate effectively in any situation. During his virtual meeting, Daniel stayed calm, listened carefully, and responded fluently. His preparation and practice helped him communicate clearly even when participants spoke quickly or had different accents. This example shows an important lesson. Preparation, active listening, and anticipating questions are essential in advanced English. Professional situations often require quick thinking, clarity, and confidence, but these skills can be practiced in daily life through role play, rehearsals, and discussions with someone you trust. Now, let's look at a casual, everyday interaction. My friend Emily visited a local farmer's market with her husband. She asked vendors about fresh produce, inquired about prices, and discussed recipes. By describing what she wanted and asking follow-up questions, Emily practiced both polite expressions and useful everyday vocabulary. By the end of her visit, she realized that simple activities like shopping, asking questions, or interacting with people in casual settings are excellent opportunities to practice advanced English naturally. Another example comes from problem-solving at home. My friend Mark noticed a minor electrical issue in his kitchen. Instead of calling for help immediately, he searched online for instructions, discussed the steps with his wife in English, and carefully completed the repair while explaining each step aloud. He practiced technical vocabulary, sequencing words, and conditional phrases like, "If this happens, then do this." Not only did he solve the problem, but he also strengthened his ability to explain complex instructions clearly and logically in English. This story shows that combining practical tasks with language practice helps you learn faster and speak more confidently. Let's consider cultural experiences. My friend Sophia visited a local museum with her husband. She read the exhibit descriptions, asked staff questions, and discussed her observations aloud. She used phrases like, "I find this artwork fascinating because," or "Could you tell me more about the artist's techniques?" These interactions allowed her to practice descriptive language naturally and expand her vocabulary related to art and culture. Visiting museums, galleries, or cultural events is a great way to use English actively while learning new words and expressions in context. Now, think about shopping for technical items. My friend Lucas went to buy a new laptop with his wife. He needed to compare different models, ask about technical specifications, and understand warranty and delivery options. At first, he felt nervous because the salesperson used complicated words. However, by asking clear and polite questions like, "Does this model support external monitors?" or "What is the battery life under normal use?" he was able to get the information he needed. By the end of the shopping trip, Lucas realized that clear communication, practical vocabulary, and confidence are more important than using complex sentences. These examples show an important principle for advanced English learners. Everyday activities, whether shopping, problem-solving, Visiting museums or participating in meetings are opportunities to practice listening, speaking, and thinking in English. By preparing, asking questions, narrating actions, and discussing ideas with others, you strengthen your vocabulary, sentence structure, and overall fluency. Active engagement in real situations builds confidence, helps you respond naturally, and allows you to communicate effectively in both casual and professional contexts. Over time, these experiences train your brain to think in English and make advanced communication feel effortless and natural. Lucas's shopping trip for a new laptop shows how practical English can be used in decision-making. He compared different models, asked about specifications, and discussed warranty options. By using clear and polite language, precise vocabulary, and simple sentence structures, he not only chose the best option but also gained confidence in speaking English during real-life tasks. This example demonstrates that applying English in practical situations helps you learn faster than studying from a book alone. Next, let's look at social conversations. My neighbor Rachel invited a few friends for dinner. She used the opportunity to talk about topics like travel, food, and hobbies. She listened carefully, asked questions to involve everyone, and responded naturally. This practice strengthened her ability to follow fast conversations, express her opinions, and use more complex sentence structures without hesitation. Casual gatherings like this are excellent for practicing advanced English because they give you a chance to interact in real time, listen actively, and respond appropriately. Another everyday example comes from outdoor activities. A few days ago, my friend Henry and his wife went on a weekend hike. On the trail, they met other hikers and exchanged experiences. Henry practiced asking questions like, "How long did it take you to reach the top?" or "Which route do you recommend for beginners?" These spontaneous conversations helped him practice English fluently in real-world situations. These stories show that unplanned interactions, such as talking politely to strangers, are valuable opportunities to use new vocabulary and sentence patterns naturally. Planning home projects is another excellent way to practice advanced English. For example, my friend Daniel wanted to repaint his living room. He researched colors, tools, and techniques online in English, and then discussed his plan with his wife. By explaining each step, using descriptive language, and anticipating possible questions, he practiced advanced vocabulary, sequencing words, and clear communication skills, all while completing a practical task. This method combines learning with action, helping English become part of everyday thinking. A few weeks ago, my friend Michael decided to take a cooking class with his wife. The class was conducted entirely in English, and the instructor used advanced phrases to explain cooking techniques. At first, Michael felt a little nervous because he did not understand all the instructions. To follow along, he listened carefully, wrote notes in English, and asked questions like, "Could you explain the steps for making the sauce again?" or "What is the best way to chop these vegetables?" By doing this, he not only learned how to cook new dishes, but also practiced listening, comprehension, and speaking in a structured yet natural way. These examples teach an important lesson for advanced learners. English becomes stronger when you use it actively in real-life situations. Whether shopping, socializing, hiking, planning home projects, or attending classes, each activity offers opportunities to expand vocabulary, improve sentence structures, and practice speaking confidently. Listening carefully, asking questions, explaining your ideas, and engaging with others are all essential for building fluency over time. Using English in practical situations trains your brain to think in English, helps you respond naturally, and allows you to communicate effectively in both casual and professional contexts. By turning everyday experiences into learning opportunities, you develop advanced listening, speaking, and comprehension skills in a natural and enjoyable way. During the cooking class, Michael asked questions like, What's the best way to prevent the dough from sticking? By the end of the class, he could follow the recipe on his own and even help other participants with instructions. This story shows an important lesson. Learning advanced English works best when you actively engage with what you are learning. Asking questions, taking notes, repeating instructions, and helping others improves both understanding and confidence in speaking. Active involvement allows you to process language naturally and remember it better. Let's move to another practical example. My friend Sarah recently moved into a new apartment with her husband. She had to communicate with the building manager, delivery personnel, and neighbors, all in English. At first, she found it hard to express herself clearly, especially when asking about apartment rules, delivery schedules, or parking. To manage this, she prepared a list of questions in advance and practiced them with her husband. During each interaction, she used polite and precise phrases like, "Would it be possible to schedule delivery for tomorrow morning?" Or, "Could you clarify the building policy regarding parking?" With repeated practice, Sarah became much more comfortable speaking English in real-life situations. This example teaches an important principle for advanced learners. Preparation is key. Knowing what you want to say in advance reduces anxiety, helps you express yourself clearly, and allows you to handle unfamiliar situations confidently. Advanced English is not just about knowing vocabulary or grammar. It is also about planning and organizing your thoughts so you can communicate effectively. Here's another story about learning through observation. My friend Daniel and his wife visited a local community center where English-speaking volunteers were leading activities. Daniel paid close attention to how the volunteers explained tasks, guided participants, and answered questions. He noticed their use of polite expressions, transitional phrases, and conversational techniques that kept interactions smooth and natural. Later, he practiced these same phrases with his wife, using them in their daily conversations. Over time, he realized that his spoken English had become smoother, more natural, and more confident. Observing others is a very effective way to improve advanced English. By watching native speakers or fluent users, you can notice patterns, expressions, and tones that textbooks often do not teach. This method helps you learn conversational techniques, polite phrasing, and how to organize your ideas logically. When you combine observation with active practice, such as repeating phrases, role-playing scenarios, or explaining what you saw to someone else, you internalize the language faster and begin thinking in English instead of translating from your native language. Together, these examples show a common theme. Advanced English is learned most effectively through practical experiences. Whether taking a cooking class, moving into a new apartment, or observing people in a community setting, the key is active engagement. Ask questions, practice in realistic situations, plan what to say, and observe carefully. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to expand your vocabulary, use polite expressions, and gain confidence. Over time, repeated practice and real-life exposure make speaking and understanding advanced English feel natural, smooth, and automatic. By turning daily experiences into learning opportunities, you improve not only your language skills, but also your ability to think and respond fluently in both casual and professional contexts. Watching fluent speakers helps a lot when learning advanced English. You can notice how they structure sentences, organize conversations, and use natural expressions. Practicing these patterns with a partner makes learning easier and helps you remember them. Let's look at a professional example. My friend Henry had to organize an online workshop for colleagues from different countries. He prepared his slides, anticipated questions participants might ask, and rehearsed how to explain everything in English with his wife. During the workshop, some participants asked unexpected questions, but Henry was ready. He could respond confidently with phrases like, "That's a good question. Let me clarify that point," or I suggest we approach it this way. Because he prepared and practiced, he spoke fluently and handled the session professionally. This story shows an important lesson. Advanced English is not only about knowing words. It's also about thinking ahead, planning your responses, and using polite, professional expressions. When you anticipate situations, you can communicate more clearly and confidently. Preparation and practice are the keys to performing well in professional or formal settings. Now, let's see a casual example. My friend Olivia and her husband went to a local park and met other families. Olivia practiced starting conversations by asking simple questions like, "Do your children enjoy this park?" or "Which activities do you recommend for beginners?" She listened carefully to the answers, asked follow-up questions, and shared her own experiences. This helped her practice natural conversation, active listening, and responding spontaneously in English. Everyday social interactions like this are very useful for advanced learners. They teach you how to ask questions naturally, respond appropriately, and manage conversations in different situations. Even casual conversations can improve fluency, confidence, and your ability to think in English. Here's another example about problem solving. My friend Robert noticed that his kitchen sink was leaking. He read instructions online in English, collected the necessary tools, and explained the repair process to his wife step by step. He used simple but clear phrases like, "We need to tighten this pipe carefully," or "Let's check if the water flow is normal." By explaining each step in English, he not only fixed the sink, but also practiced technical vocabulary, sequencing words, and conditional phrases. This story teaches an important idea. Advanced English is strengthened when you combine practical tasks with language use. Explaining procedures, teaching someone else, or narrating actions in English helps you internalize vocabulary and sentence structures quickly. You don't need complicated words. Clarity and correct sequencing are often more important. Everyday problem-solving situations give you countless opportunities to practice advanced English naturally. From professional workshops to casual park conversations and home repairs, these examples show a common principle. Advanced English is about using language in real situations. Preparing for challenges, observing fluent speakers, actively practicing phrases, and explaining tasks aloud all help you become more confident and fluent. By turning ordinary daily experiences into learning opportunities, you improve your vocabulary, sentence structures, and overall ability to communicate clearly. Practice in real contexts trains your brain to think and respond in English automatically, which is the goal of advanced language learning. By explaining his actions aloud, my friend Robert practiced descriptive language, sequencing words, and technical vocabulary while solving a practical problem. This method is very effective for advanced learners because it combines real-world skills with language practice. Talking through tasks in English helps you remember words, sentence structures, and how to organize your ideas naturally. You don't need to focus on perfect grammar. Clarity and logical order are more important. Now, let's look at a travel example. My friend Lisa and her husband went to a small coastal town for a weekend trip. While exploring, they asked locals for directions, inquired about nearby restaurants, and discussed tourist attractions. Lisa practiced polite phrases like, "Could you recommend a place to try local seafood?" and "Is it far from here to the lighthouse?" By asking questions, listening carefully, and responding in English, she built confidence in using the language in real situations. Travel experiences like this are excellent for learning because you are forced to use practical phrases, expand your vocabulary, and respond quickly. Listening to different accents and speaking with real people also improves understanding and fluency, which textbooks cannot fully teach. Another useful method is storytelling. My friend Thomas often tells his wife about his day in detail. He describes events using complex sentences and connectors, such as meanwhile or as a result, and adds descriptive vocabulary to make his stories clear. By doing this, Thomas practices both fluency and logical organization of ideas. His wife listens carefully and asks follow-up questions, which helps him respond naturally in conversation. Storytelling is very effective for advanced learners because it combines speaking, vocabulary, grammar, and thought organization. Practicing with a partner allows you to refine sentence patterns, connect ideas smoothly, and gain confidence in speaking English. Now, let's look at a professional situation. My friend Rachel had to present a new project idea to her colleagues at work. She practiced explaining the main points, anticipated possible questions, and rehearsed how to answer them clearly in English. On the day of the presentation, she spoke confidently, used polite and professional expressions, and answered unexpected questions smoothly. This story shows that preparation is essential for advanced English learners. It's not enough to know words. You also need to structure your thoughts, plan responses, and practice communicating in realistic scenarios. Rehearsing with someone you trust makes you more comfortable and ensures your language sounds natural and professional. All these examples, solving practical problems, traveling, storytelling, and giving presentations, highlight a common lesson. Advanced English is learned through real-life use, not just by memorizing rules. When you explain tasks aloud, interact with others, or tell stories, you train your brain to think in English. This helps you respond naturally, improve vocabulary, and become more fluent. Practicing in everyday situations, whether casual, professional, or recreational, allows you to build confidence, improve comprehension, and communicate clearly and effectively. Rachel's presentation shows the value of rehearsal and planning. She anticipated possible questions, practiced answers, and focused on using formal but natural English. During the actual presentation, she could respond confidently with phrases like, "Let me explain that point further," and "I appreciate your suggestion. Here's how we can handle it." Because she prepared thoroughly, she spoke smoothly and professionally. Practicing with a trusted partner simulates real situations and helps you speak fluently under pressure. Now, let's consider a simple, everyday example. My friend Michael went grocery shopping with his wife. While shopping, he practiced describing the items he wanted, asking about quality, and clarifying prices. He used practical expressions such as, "Could you tell me if these vegetables are fresh?" or "Do you have this brand in a larger size?" These small daily conversations gave him a chance to practice useful vocabulary and real-life speaking skills. Everyday interactions like this are excellent for advanced English learners because they help you speak naturally, ask questions, and describe things without the stress of formal settings. Another effective method is combining language learning with practical tasks. My friend Daniel prepared for a weekend DIY project with his wife. He read instructions online in English, explained the steps aloud, and asked practical questions like, "Do we need to measure this twice before cutting?" By doing this, he improved his ability to give clear explanations, use technical terms, and organize his thoughts in English. Explaining steps aloud naturally practices complex sentence structures, descriptive language, and logical sequencing. Social situations are also very helpful. My friend Emily attended a community event with her husband. She spoke with many participants, asked questions about their experiences, and shared her own stories. This helped her practice natural conversation, active listening, and responding spontaneously in English. Talking with different people allows you to use a variety of expressions, adjust your language to the situation, and improve fluency without formal study. Even short trips provide excellent practice. While traveling, you can ask for directions, inquire about local food, or discuss tourist attractions. Using polite questions like, Could you recommend a good local restaurant? Or how far is it to the museum? Forces you to think and respond quickly in English. These real-life interactions are essential for learning practical vocabulary, understanding different accents, and improving conversational skills naturally. Whether it's work, shopping, projects, social events, or travel, the key is to actively use English in real situations. Explain your actions aloud, ask questions, and respond naturally. Daily practice in these scenarios builds confidence, strengthens vocabulary, and helps you internalize sentence patterns. Preparation, observation, and practical use are far more important than memorizing grammar rules. By combining all of these techniques, you gradually develop the ability to communicate clearly, think in English, and use advanced language effectively in any situation. Learning a language well is not just about reading books or memorizing grammar rules. Speaking and interacting with people in real situations is equally important. For example, one of my friends worked hard to improve her English conversations. She practiced listening carefully when others spoke and then answered naturally instead of overthinking. By doing this, she became better at speaking smoothly and could handle unexpected questions without feeling stressed. Social interactions, like chatting with friends or speaking in public, are especially valuable for advanced learners because life is full of unpredictable situations. You never know what someone might ask, so learning to think quickly and communicate clearly is a crucial skill. Another example comes from a professional situation. My friend Henry needed to write emails to clients in other countries. At first, he drafted messages in English and then discussed them with his wife to ensure they sounded clear and polite. By practicing in this way, Henry learned how to be professional while still friendly. He also improved his ability to use more complex sentence structures correctly. This shows that writing practice, combined with discussion, helps improve overall English fluency. You don't just learn grammar and words, you learn how to organize your ideas, express yourself formally, and communicate effectively in professional settings. Practicing English can also happen in everyday life at home. My friend Robert and his wife decided to organize their garage. While doing this, Robert spoke aloud in English. He named the tools he used, described each action, and gave simple instructions such as, "Let's put these boxes on the shelf," or "We need to sort the items by size." This activity helped him practice descriptive language, learn sequencing words, and improve his ability to give clear instructions. Small daily tasks, when narrated in English, provide excellent opportunities to increase vocabulary, sentence structure, and fluency. Even simple chores become meaningful practice moments. A few weeks ago, another friend, Daniel, volunteered at a local community center with his wife. Their role was to help organize a weekend event for children. Daniel had to give instructions to children, coordinate activities, and answer parents' questions, all in English. At first, he felt nervous and worried about speaking perfectly. But he quickly realized that being clear and listening carefully were more important than flawless grammar. For example, when a parent asked, "Where should my child go for the painting activity?" Daniel answered confidently and guided the child to the right place. Through this experience, he discovered that practical speaking situations teach you more than studying alone. You learn how to explain things clearly, respond immediately, and use polite expressions, all essential skills for real-life communication. These stories show that learning English isn't only about memorizing rules or studying textbooks. Practicing speaking in social situations, writing and revising emails, narrating daily tasks, and volunteering in the community all help you become fluent. You gain confidence, improve listening skills, and learn to express your ideas clearly and effectively. The key is consistency and applying English in real life. By putting yourself in situations where you need to communicate naturally, your ability to speak and understand the language improves much faster than practicing in isolation. Every small step, whether it is a short conversation, writing an email, or explaining tasks, adds up to real progress. Learning happens when English becomes part of your daily routine, and you use it to interact with others meaningfully and confidently. Volunteering, in particular, provides a rich environment for practicing advanced English because it exposes you to real conversations, quick responses, and polite, professional language in natural situations. Unlike classroom exercises, real-life practice requires thinking on your feet and speaking in ways that are understandable, courteous, and effective. Another practical example comes from my friend Olivia. She and her husband attended a cooking demonstration at a local market. The chef spoke in English and encouraged the audience to ask questions. Olivia listened carefully and asked thoughtful questions such as, "Could you suggest a substitute for this ingredient? And how long should I simmer the sauce to get the best flavor?" Through this experience, Olivia realized that learning English is not just about listening. Active engagement is what truly helps you improve. Asking questions, participating in discussions, and using new words or structures immediately helps you internalize vocabulary and grammar far better than passive listening. Her comprehension improved, and at the same time, her confidence in speaking English grew. This example shows that advanced learners need to participate actively rather than merely observe to make real progress. Everyday life also provides excellent opportunities for practice. For instance, my friend Henry recently helped his wife plan a family celebration. He created a checklist in English, assigned tasks to relatives, and explained details clearly to everyone who spoke English. He used polite, practical phrases like, "Could you prepare the drinks?" or "We need to set up the tables before 6 p.m. While coordinating tasks, he practiced giving instructions, asking questions for clarification, and responding politely when plans changed. By the end of the day, Henry noticed that he could communicate naturally and handle multiple conversations without hesitation. Situations like these allow advanced learners to practice conditional phrases, sequencing words, and polite expressions in real time. Planning events, coordinating with others, and responding to unexpected situations are all excellent ways to improve both listening and speaking skills simultaneously. These examples highlight a key lesson: advanced English learning requires putting the language into action. Whether volunteering, attending public demonstrations, or organizing family events, the focus should be on active participation. Speaking clearly, listening carefully, and interacting with others helps learners develop fluency, confidence, and the ability to express complex ideas. Everyday situations provide countless chances to practice descriptive language, polite requests, and problem-solving conversations. For advanced learners, using English in meaningful contexts is far more effective than simply memorizing words or grammar rules. Each interaction, whether small or significant, strengthens your ability to communicate naturally and effectively. By consistently using English in real-life situations, learners become more comfortable with unpredictability, improve their understanding of social and professional contexts, and gain the confidence to speak without overthinking. The key is to engage fully, listen, respond, ask questions, and describe your actions in English. Over time, these practices help internalize vocabulary, grammar structures, and conversational skills. Advanced English proficiency is not just about knowing words, it is about using them fluently, confidently, and appropriately in everyday life. Advanced English learning is not only about social interactions or daily life, it is also crucial in professional situations and problem-solving at work. For example, my friend Robert needed to coordinate a delivery schedule with an international supplier. The The supplier had explained some changes to the timeline, and Robert needed to ask questions politely to clarify the details. He used phrases like, "Could you confirm the expected arrival date?" and "Is there an alternative option if the shipment is delayed?" Before the conversation, he rehearsed these sentences with his wife to make sure he sounded clear and confident. By preparing and practicing in advance, Robert was able to complete the task successfully while naturally using advanced English. This example shows that preparation and rehearsal are key for achieving higher-level fluency. When you anticipate questions and practice your responses, you can communicate effectively even under pressure. Travel is another excellent way to practice English in real-life situations. My friend Lisa and her husband visited a historic town where English was commonly used for directions and signs. They asked locals for recommendations, read signs, and even helped other travelers by giving directions. Lisa said, "Turn left at the fountain, then take the second street on the right," while her husband guided another tourist, pointing out nearby landmarks and explaining the area clearly. Through these simple but practical interactions, they practiced giving instructions, using descriptive language, and applying polite expressions. Travel exposes learners to a variety of accents, different ways of speaking, and real-world situations, all of which are very useful for developing natural fluency. By participating actively, listening carefully, and speaking clearly, advanced learners improve their ability to respond appropriately in unexpected situations. Professional contexts also provide valuable opportunities for practice. For instance, my friend Rachel had to organize a training session for new employees at her company. She prepared detailed instructions, anticipated questions her trainees might ask, and rehearsed her explanations with her husband. During the session, she answered questions such as, "How do we submit reports?" and "Could you clarify the process for approvals?" Because she had prepared in advance, she felt confident and could explain things clearly. Rachel realized that practicing advanced phrases, structuring her thoughts, and anticipating questions made her communication smoother and more professional. Experiences like these show that preparation, planning, and rehearsal are crucial when using English in professional settings. They help learners handle multiple tasks, answer unexpected questions, and communicate clearly under pressure. These examples highlight an important principle for advanced English learning. Practice must be active, practical, and varied. Speaking, listening, and interacting in multiple contexts, whether at work, while traveling, or helping others, builds fluency, confidence, and real-world communication skills. Rehearsing phrases, anticipating questions, and explaining instructions strengthens vocabulary, sentence structure, and the ability to respond naturally. Consistent practice in real-life scenarios is what helps advanced learners move beyond textbook knowledge and become effective communicators. Each situation, from coordinating deliveries to guiding tourists, allows learners to use English in meaningful ways, improving both accuracy and speed. Advanced proficiency is not just about knowing the right words, it is about using them clearly, politely, and confidently in all situations. By combining preparation, active participation, and real-life practice, advanced learners can develop a level of fluency that allows them to communicate easily, handle unexpected situations, and feel confident in both personal and professional settings. Using English in practical contexts makes learning engaging, effective, and directly useful. Every interaction, whether helping someone, giving directions, or conducting a meeting, is an opportunity to strengthen comprehension, vocabulary, and confidence.